You know, I think there are a couple of errors we can fall into when it comes to sex offenders. One is to think they're everywhere, they're not. But the other is to assume it's not an issue. It is an issue, particularly for the victims, for goodness sake. And posting the details and status of sex offenders on Facebook, social media. You know, a new law in Louisiana says it's the way to go, and Louisiana congressman, I'll get the appropriate term because they're very confusing in the States. Jeff Thompson agrees. He joins us on Skype. You're a representative, aren't you, Jeff?
Yes, I am. State representative, Michael.
Right. So that's that will be the equivalent here of, oh, golly, a provincial parliament in Ontario. That doesn't even bear thinking about. So is this now the law in the state?
It will become effective August the 1st of this year, having been passed through our House and Senate and signed by the governor on May the 31st. It will become effective August the 1st of this year.
Right. So what will it actually mean? If I go to Facebook, how would I know about a sex offender in Louisiana?
Well, currently, and what this law does is it's an expansion of the currently existing registration requirements. In Louisiana, if you're a convicted offender, a child predator, you must provide notice first and foremost to those that live within a mile of your home by postcard. You must also publish in the local paper your offenses and where you're located, notify the local school superintendent and the superintendent of any parks near your home. Wow. What this law does is expand that existing notice requirement to any social media page you have. And it provides the same information must be provided on that profile page wherever it will fit, as long as you meet the requirements of providing the necessary information.
My golly, I shouldn't laugh. It's not fun. I can just imagine a school, Wanstead High School, university, profession, sex offender. I mean, surely the criminals simply won't have Facebook pages.
Well, actually, and I applaud Facebook for this. Facebook has a policy that says if you're a child predator, if you're a sex offender, you're not supposed to be on Facebook in the first place.
Right.
But what we found is that child predators as a group are not necessarily good rule followers. I mean, first of all, they haven't followed the rules about not abusing or raping or taking advantage of children or others.
Sure.
And so a terms of service agreement from Facebook may not necessarily be a deterrent. What this is an important additional tool for prosecutors when they continue to fail to follow the rules.
I see. So if they do have a Facebook page, which may be there to somehow recruit and groom young people, they're not allowed to. They're breaking the law. If they do have a page, though they're meant to say they're a sex offender. Look, the concerns we have nothing like the same laws in Canada, far less draconian, and people do complain about it, that the police will know where a sex offender, a paedophile is living, but nobody else. So he could be living next door to a school, and frequently they're allowed to. There are no conditions after sentence has been served, for example.
Well, since 1993 in the state of Louisiana, and in many states across the nation, there are requirements to provide notice to the neighbors, to law enforcement. And currently, you can go on to several different sex offender registries and find out where people live in your areas. You know, what we found, unfortunately, and very sadly, is that there are too many laws named after children who have fallen prey to child predators. And so this is another step, kind of an advancement into the digital age, now that people are coming into our homes by the internet.
Yeah, I understand, and I don't necessarily oppose what you're doing. I can see a lot of common sense to it. The opposition in this country, and I suspect it's replicated in the US, would be, hey, if these guys are sorry for what they've done, they're trying to rebuild their lives, if you name them and shame them, first, there's nowhere to live, and second, they'll be so confused and pressurized by this that the chances are then they will reoffend.
Certainly, and let me assure you that what's gone into this process, and it's a very difficult issue to address, we've been very deliberative, we've been very thoughtful, because there is an opportunity for rehabilitation. This law is not a ban of the many good things offered by the internet. It doesn't keep you off of many areas. It simply expands the existing notice requirement so that when you engage somebody, either on the street corner near your home or near your school or near the park, now that street corner exists inside your house. And for parents and for others, you should be entitled to that same information.
Any fear of vigilantism?
Well, currently, because the laws that we have regarding registration status have been around for almost 20 years, I believe those concerns, while, and I'm glad you asked that, were well-founded to begin with, we've not found that to necessarily be true. What we're trying to do is simply provide information. And really, this would be a tool for prosecutors, because identifying where child predators and sex offenders are now are current on many of the registrations and many of the databases that currently exist.
Right.
This is just to provide prosecutors, because what we found, and I believe some of the concerns are, well, if you're not going to follow the laws, they're going to create a false account or a fake account. But in the course of investigating those trolling the internet for children, if they come across somebody that is supposed to have registered and did not, this law is specifically designed to provide prosecutors with the opportunity to send those individuals back to jail, and the penalties are quite stiff for failing to comply.
Yeah. Last question, because part of the complaint in this country is that people who commit offences have very, very minor punishment, short sentences, and they can reoffend 2 or 3 times before they face a long sentence. If a man was convicted for raping a child, and there's a good chance it wasn't the first offence, but the first one he's convicted of, what's the likely sentence in the state of Louisiana?
Well, here, because this law applies to different ranges, what you may very well have is a sentence originally that's going to be somewhere between 5 and 20 years in prison to start with.
Right.
The laws regarding the failure to register, to give you a sense of just how serious we are about the issue, a first-time offense for failure to register is between 2 and 10 years in prison at hard labor. A second or subsequent offense is 5 to 20 years in prison without the benefit of probation, parole, or suspension of sentence. What we found is, and you hit right on the point, when you get caught, it's very rarely on the first offense.
Yeah.
We want to make sure people have the opportunity to be rehabilitated, but we want to cut down on recidivism as well and make sure that those wishing to do harm to our children are held to the very highest standards, while balancing the rights of privacy of those people that have been rehabilitated with the right of the public to know and be aware of who they're dealing with.
Right. I'd love to show this interview to every so-called liberal, progressive person in this country who thinks our laws are just fine, because we haven't dealt with this issue at all. And I think you had a very intelligent and thoughtful approach to it. So thank you for your time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, and I appreciate the opportunity to share this important message. And we encourage everybody, as Louisiana, coming from a great Canadian history, we love to have you come down to visit our state. We've got some great things going on, and I would like to share, the good things that our legislature and our governor are doing in Louisiana. You're welcome to come anytime.
I'll be there next April, I promise, and I'll see you then. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.